To Canada to visit with our Sens reporter Hanna. Claire, on Christmas Day, the Sens were still rolling, just a point out of the wild card. Since then, just 2 wins, tied for the worst record in the Eastern Conference. Give us a sense of the feeling in the nation's capital surrounding this team right now.
Well, Gino, they're saying all the right things. They're saying that they still have belief in this team, that the players are still confident that they can get out of this, but there is definitely a flat feeling to this locker room, this dressing room right now. It's hard to describe. Sometimes, you can sense that there's real passion out of players, but right now they're in a low spot. For example, following that loss to Florida, head coach Travis Green just mentioned there was that sense of urgency. They were going into that Florida game with 3 losses, but he said after the game that they didn't have that sense of desperation. And Gino, this is a team that made the playoffs last year. They're returning so many similar players. And so to take a dip like that, but then not have a response that you need isn't a good sign. And I think about what the players are saying. This morning, Lars Eller, who's a veteran of this league, was speaking, and he said that the players need to look themselves in the mirror and bring what they can in terms of a competitive edge. How can they all be that spark? Claude Giroux just mentioning in moments like this, you need to work hard, you need to communicate. But it's a tough hole that the Ottawa Senators in, and right now, I'm just going to say it, the vibes are not good in Ottawa.
Yeah, no kidding. There's still no official word, I guess, on how long Linus Ullmark is going to need before he's ready to come back and play for the team. So the Sens have signed James Reimer, but he hasn't played a single game in the league this season. So what's the timeline on Ullmark's return, and how much can the Sens and their fans really expect from Reimer?
Okay, let's start with James Reimer because his first practice with the Ottawa Senators was on Monday. He played in Belleville for their AHL team on Sunday night. He allowed 6 goals on 28 shots. When we've been asking about when we could expect to see him, they say there's no timeline, it's day to day. But given the fact that the Senators right now are on a back-to-back and they travel to New York to play the Rangers tomorrow night, I wouldn't be surprised to possibly see James Reimer take the net on Wednesday. It could depend really on how Levi Merilainen plays in net tonight when they host the Canucks. I think if Levi goes out there and has a tremendous game, then the Senators might trust him again to play tomorrow night, but it could be dictated on that. And also for James Reimer, I mean, he played in the Spengler Cup. He played 2 games there, but this season he's been predominantly training with 2 junior hockey teams in the Okanagan. So he's going to have some rust. But he's an NHL veteran. He's played in this league for over 15 years. He even said it's kind of just normal, he thinks, when he's going to get back into that game, knowing the rhythm of things. And I think that his teammates right now with the Senators, they could really just lean on some of that loose confidence that he might be bringing to their team. And he has really nothing to lose. Now, to go back to your Ullmark question, it's really been interesting because we have seen Linus around the rink a couple of times. Yesterday, he was in the hallway. He was walking through the dressing room. He was seen in the press box about a week ago. And so I asked Travis Green just on an update because Linus Ullmark is still on that leave of absence and wanting to protect his privacy. But Ullmark did skate this morning, and they say he could be back soon. But it's still a little wishy-washy given the situation. So, we're not sure at this point.
Sens made the playoffs last year, as we say, up until Christmas. They had a real shot to get back this year. But now they're 7 points out with 7 teams they've got to hurdle over to get into the playoffs. Does that room still believe it can be done?
Once again, they say they believe it. Jake Spanderson spoke yesterday saying, yes, he knows where they are in the standings and that they can get out of it, but he also mentioned that time is running out. So there really needs to be a sense of urgency here in January before that Olympic break to get things done. But let's just look at one of their divisional opponents in the Buffalo Sabres. They've won 13 of their last 15 games, and they're just in the final wildcard playoff spot. So even if the Senators go on an incredible run here, their divisional opponents are also getting the job done. So the Senators are really in tough in the Atlantic Division. And when it comes down to how they're playing, we've talked about their goaltending. It hasn't been strong. Is James Reimer the solution? We don't know yet. Is Ullmark coming back? Will he play better when he does come back? These are all big question marks. Their power play hasn't been great. They've been shuffling their lines up. Travis Green mentioning he's just sometimes in games trying to find a spark. In the game against the Panthers on Saturday, you saw a lot of different lines in the third period because he's just trying to find something that might stick. So I think that the Senators are really in tough right now. It's not impossible, but this is the time when they have to dig deep and find a way out.
Claire Hanna has joined us from Canada, where the Sens are set to host the Vancouver Canucks tonight on TSN 5.